let's see what a raga is. A raga is the equivalent of a scale, roughly speaking. It wouldn't be exactly right to call a raga as a scale. There is something more to it. So, a raga may be viewed as a scale with embellishments and other rules associated with it. So, by purest definition, a raga needs to have a minimum of 5 notes. And in these 5 notes, if you divide an octave into two different parts, sarigama falling in the first half and padani in the second, you can have a maximum of three from each half, which means, for example, if you choose the note sarigama pa, you can't call this a raga. Now, in a Western scale, let's take the pentatonic scale, which has 5 notes. You just play those 5 notes while you're ascending or descending, but it's not true in Eastern music. The ascending order or arohana may not be the same as the descending or avarohana. So when you define a raga or the notes in a raga, you would say what the notes are in the ascending order and the descending order. And also the order matters. Like there are ragas in which the re would come after the ga. So the order of the notes also matters. That is just the very technical aspect of it. But a raga is also a mood. So um, the mood or the emotion that's conveyed while you play the music also defines the raga. An example for that is the raga Shankarabharanam. The equivalent scale, going just by the notes in Western music, is the major scale, but the feel is different. Let's have a little demo and see what it sounds like. Okay, so like I said, we're going to explore what this mood or feel thing is. I'm going to play the E major scale, which is supposed to be the equivalent of Shankarabharanam. After that, Ganesh will sing the ascension and descension of Shankarabharanam, and hopefully, you'll see the differences. Sari ga ma pa dha ni sa ni da pa ma ga re sa. Okay, so maybe you didn't notice so much of a difference, but if you did notice, you would see that the notes kind of followed a flow. That's because Indian music is said to be played in the Gayaki style, which means singing style. Even when you play an instrument, you would play it as a vocalist sings, and usually they kind of, flow from one note to another. So if you went from sa to re, you wouldn't have a pause between the two of them, which usually happens in Western music. The frequency would gradually change on to the next one, which is kind of like an equivalent of a slide. Um, and also, the notes are not exactly the same. We saw the mapping earlier, right? Even though we said stuff like re 1 is the equivalent of C sharp, that's not really true, because the 12 different notes in Western music are equally tempered, while as the notes in Eastern music are not. They're not equally spaced in terms of frequency. They're different. I do not know what the exact frequency measures are, and we are not going to get into that stuff now. There is something called an adhara shadja, which is the note or the frequency at which you would root your sa at, and you would have all your music based off of that. And the measure for this is called a katte, and katte 1 is the equivalent of middle C in Western music. Katte 1.5 is close to the C sharp. So if you say your katte is 1.5, that means your sa is equivalent to the C sharp. Um, Men are supposed to sing in the katte 1 to 3, while women sing in the katte 3 to 5 generally. This is the view that Carnatic purists have, though it's not really true. You can't have all men singing, in 1 to 3. So if you were a man and sang in katte 4, they would say that you have a female voice.